In a place where the land once whispered only to the wind and the creatures of the swamp, a city rose like a mirage, built not by destiny, but by raw determination. In a country barely born, amidst danger, dreams, and dust, came a vision that would defy the natural world around it. This is not just the story of a city. This is the story of survival, of invention, of fire and flood. This is the story of Houston, Texas. Welcome to History Nest. In 1836, as the cannons of revolution still echoed across Texas, a pair of visionary brothers stepped into the thick, untamed wilderness of Buffalo Bayou. Augustus and John Allen, real estate promoters from New York, saw in this swampy stretch of land not a problem, but a promise. For just over $5,000, they bought more than 6,600 acres of brush and mosquitoes. There were no buildings, no roads, no people, just a dream they refused to let die. They named it Houston, after Sam Houston, the newly minted hero of the Texas Revolution. But Houston's birth was no miracle. It was a mess, muddy roads, insects thick in the air, disease. Yet word spread of opportunity, of growth. By 1837, the city became the capital of the Republic of Texas. If only for a time, and in that fragile moment of history, something began to shift. The wilderness was being beaten back. The buildings began to rise. Railroads came next, stitching Houston to the rest of Texas and turning it into a hub. Cotton flowed in timber cattle. This was no longer just a hopeful patch of land. It was becoming the engine room of a booming new nation. But the thing that would truly ignite Houston's rise was buried deep beneath the earth. On a cold January morning in 1901, just east of Houston, the ground trembled. Oil, a black fountain of it, Spindletop. It changed everything. In an instant, Texas was transformed, and Houston, once a muddy outpost, became the beating heart of America's new energy empire. Skyscrapers rose like oil rigs against the horizon, glass and steel, commerce and ambition. The city was growing, faster than it could contain itself. But with growth came struggle. Floods tore through homes. Fires consumed neighborhoods. The 1900 Galveston hurricane, just 50 miles away, remains the deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history. It sent a clear message: this land could take everything back. And yet, Houston pushed forward, always forward. During the Great Depression, while much of the country buckled, Houston's port kept working. The ship channel, a deep-water lifeline carved by human hands, kept cargo moving and jobs flowing. The city had become a crossroads of the world. Then came World War to lift the factories and shipyards into overdrive. Houston became a manufacturing powerhouse, tanks, planes, steel. After the war, the soldiers came home. They needed homes, jobs, hope. Houston gave them all three. But perhaps the most extraordinary moment in the city's history would come from beyond the earth itself. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy declared that America would go to the moon. And from that dream, NASA's manned spacecraft center, what we now call Johnson Space Center, was born in Houston. Houston, we have a problem, became a household phrase. But before that, Houston was the city that sent the first humans to the moon. Houston became the capital of outer space, a place where engineers and astronauts worked together, pushing the edge of what was possible. And even then, the story was far from over. The late 20th century brought both glory and hardship. The 1980s oil crash devastated the city's economy. Skyscrapers emptied, dreams faltered. But Houston, true to its history, didn't stay down for long. The city diversified into medicine, technology, international trade. The Texas Medical Center became the largest in the world. Diverse communities from Vietnam, Nigeria, Mexico, India, and beyond came to call Houston home. It is now one of the most multicultural cities on Earth. Over 145 languages are spoken. Cultures intersect in every neighborhood. This is not the old South. This is something new. And still, nature has not relented. Hurricanes Ike, Harvey, and others have flooded the streets, swallowed homes, and shaken the spirit of the city. But what makes Houston remarkable is not what it builds, but what it rebuilds. Time after time, it rises from the floodwaters, a phoenix city without wings, but with heart. Today, Houston is America's fourth largest city. It is a city of contradictions, of oil rigs and spaceports, skyscrapers and soul food, science and swampland. It's where billionaires launch rockets and immigrants launch new lives, where cowboy boots meet lab coats, and every day, beneath the glow of the southern sun, the people of Houston do what they've always done: build, create, and endure. This isn't just a story about one city in Texas. It is a story about what it means to fight for a future no one else can see, about turning wilderness into wonder, about choosing hope over and over again. That is the legacy of Houston, and it's still being written. Thank you for watching History Nest. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We bring the forgotten stories, the powerful stories, back to life. Because history isn't just what happened, it's who we are. And in Houston, that story never ends.